Fatality moves, I make it bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we hit. They said we on. They said
Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 59th episode of the Lowdown on TSWS Gaming. We are officially 10 episodes before, 10 episodes before the 69th. Hopefully, the 69th episode, Ham's going to be here. It's a very important position and episode, in my opinion. As you can see from the man, right here next to me. That's not Ham Solo. That's not him. That's not what's going on. Someone hacked the channel. Someone got through when they weren't supposed to. Welcome in, Oshis. How you doing?
Thanks, Luke. I know all good on my side. Just recovering from that hectic week we had with all the Xbox shenanigans. But other than that, all good, man. All good. No complaints.
Still recovering.
Still recovering, dude. Yeah. Some people didn't recover.
Feelings.
I'm not in my feelings.
You guys are still in your feelings.
No, not at all, bro. I sort of knew I saw this coming a long time ago. This is not. Xbox has been pivoting towards this since 2013. They've changed nothing. It's just that they've just nuanced, and I think RJ said this. They've just tweaked the messaging.
Don't bring up RJ. You're gonna trigger the chat. Don't bring up RJ.
You guys were ham on pun not intended last.
But he's a good sport. I like him. I like RJ. He's a very good sport. So yeah, for anyone that's not aware of what's going on and you're a bit surprised, like why is this happening? Ham is taking the week off, so that's why the lowdown is me and Mr. Ushers over here, and my very useful PS5 that I definitely don't have connection problems with. If there's a PlayStation fan in the chat, I need some help. I connected my Xbox control, my PlayStation controller to my gaming PC for some Dark Souls 3. And I tried to reconnect it to the console. I've been searching on YouTube and whatever. I'm not getting any solutions. All the stuff that's being suggested is not working. So if anyone has a link for me to check, and maybe there's like a tactic that I haven't used up to now, I could use the help, because I need to play this and I can't at the moment. Welcome in, Too Big. Says he's ready for the show. Raichi, no way you're replacing Ham Solo. Yes way, brother. Yes way. At least for today. I didn't mean that to rhyme. It just happened. Sir X-Man, let's have fun today. Blah, 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 Sir X-Man. Timmy! Welcome in, Timmy. Mr. Vincent Vega, appreciate you. Too Big. Oh, man. Too Big. Use of that white box of glorified mic stand. God damn. All right. Oshis, before we start, what have you been playing this past few days?
So I've sort of been rotating between Pale World primarily. I just can't stop playing that game. That game is super awesome. So aside from Pal World, I've been playing some Starfield. Things that are not coming to PlayStation 5.
Still playing.
Um, um,
Oh man.
but yes, I've been playing some Starfield. The game is great. It's like it received an update a while back. A little bit
Yeah,
of
yeah, I saw that. I
mm,
tried to present the Starfield
yeah,
update. I got the article, I organized it properly, and then everything just started popping off with the rumors, and I couldn't get to it. I
yeah.
couldn't get to it. But go ahead.
It's weird, man. Like everyone talks about, like everyone like that doesn't like Starfield talks about how much it sucks, but for some reason, it always comes up in the conversation. It's not stopped coming up in the conversation. Last time I checked, if a game
That's
sucks,
true.
people just stop talking about it. Like, I mean, I can't remember the last time I heard anyone talked about
The
what
King
is it?
Kong game.
Well, no, not even the King Kong game. You're taking it a little bit
Which
too
one?
fast. I was just thinking Suicide Squad kills the Justice League.
Oh
Like
my lord.
that game, I have not heard
Stop
a
it.
It's just been held
Suicide
divers for the last 2 weeks.
Suicide Squad. That I read an article that said Suicide Squad is like less than 1,000 people right now. So it's not looking pretty.
It's
It's
not,
not looking pretty.
because I think the
So
budget
that's
was
what you've been playing.
I don't know, but like I heard something that was about between 200 and 250 for the game.
Yeah, but that's not just the game development. Most of the budgets for these games that have a licensed IP is the license itself. That's where the money is mostly
Yeah,
spent. Licensing and marketing to make sure that the licensed property is not a waste of money,
yeah,
which
true.
is wild. No one is focusing on making the games. But okay. Raichi, think you're funny? You think you're funny. Says there's a USB cable already connected to the PS6. There are more polygons on a single stellar blade ass cheek than the whole of Power.
Look,
Um,
let's not talk Helldivers then, because if that sounds like a very PS sort of centric thing, because like Helldivers isn't exactly the gem of the generation in terms of like
what?
graphics.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's
But
not like, I
it,
mean, the
it
game
it
is
is a
great.
gem, dude. Come on.
Yeah, but like it's not. Come on, like the game looks like
We don't care
it's.
about graphics, all right? We don't care about you want graphics,
Oh,
take it to I don't know where you need to take it. Here we talk
yeah.
about games, right? It's TSWS gaming, not TSWS graphics.
But the
Right?
dude said, like, yeah, like the guy is comparing polygons. I'm just saying that, like, you know what, just being pretty, a pretty
Funny.
face
You're
is
being
not.
funny. You're being funny. Don't worry. Don't worry. So X-Men, blah blah blah. All right. Let's dive right in. So since the whole Xbox thing has died down and we have some air to breathe, we can now talk about other things
Mm-hmm.
relating to video games. Can we leave Xbox alone for 5 minutes? And also, do I have the 10 billion? God damn it! I have the 10 billion from PlayStation to talk about. Damn it! All right,
I,
fine. Fine.
I thought you were gonna say in
I
your back
didn't.
pocket.
No, I didn't want to talk about the 10 billion, but whatever.
Yeah.
Ubisoft CEO defends Skull and Bones $70 price tag despite its live service leanings, calls it quadruple A. During a Q&A session as part of the conference call discussing Ubisoft's Q3 sales for its fiscal 2024, one caller pointed out that Skull and Bones now appears to be taking a more live service approach. The game's year one roadmap was recently published. For example, the caller asked why Ubisoft was insisting on charging $70 for the game and potentially limiting the size of its player base, suggesting a free-to-play model may better suit the live service mechanics and give it a better chance of building a community. Yves Guillemot replied with an assertion that Skull and Bones deserves to be a full-price game because of its scale. So here's a specific quote. You will
Mm-hmm.
see that Skull and Bones is a fully fledged game. It's a very big game, and we feel that people will really see how vast and complete that game is. It's a really full, triple, pause, quadruple A game that will deliver in the long run. So many red flags, but I want you to go first. Go ahead.
Oh, man, that's a lot of like emphasis on full game. despite what I've heard from all the reviews, like how empty some of those what would you call them, like islands are,
Yeah.
or like the rest of the game is. Aside, look, I think they've spent quadruple money on that game in terms of like budget, but I wonder if that's translated to the player experience in terms of like what I've seen in the reviews. A lot of people say a lot of mechanics that have been dialed back, like from like say a Black Flag, which is weird to me because Black Flag wasn't a pirate game primarily, it was an Assassin's game first. But a lot of people are saying that the mechanics in your older Black Flag and I believe Assassin's Creed Rogue, those mechanics were far better in terms of like the gameplay pirate mechanics than what you're currently getting in Skull and Bones, which is shocking to me. I don't understand how they got that part right. I thought that's the one thing they would get right. And then, of course, a lot of people are saying that, like, once you are off the actual ship, there's not a lot to do. Everyone you interact with is just someone that has something that you need to buy off them, etc. So, like, for me, a quadruple A game, and I hate to use this example, is like a Sony first-party game. That's what you could call Last of Us Part 2 a quadruple A game, and you can see where all the into that, yeah. So, and of course, sorry?
I said, ew, that's disgusting. Don't bring up The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, and then of course, like even Microsoft, I mean, if you look at like when they launch a big game like a Starfield, you can see why say it's a quadruple A game in terms of like it's either they can brag that there's a number like 1,000 planets or something like that, regardless of what the fans will say, but there is something that you can see there, like the amount of mechanics that Starfield has. I don't think people give it credit, like from the shipbuilding mechanics to all the other things that you can do just outside, just landing on the planets, and of course the varied stories, etc.
We're not going to turn this into a Starfield co-op session.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that that's what a quadruple A game is to me. Something that you can
hold the phone. Starfield is the quadruple A game,
without a doubt. You can't. There's nothing that you can.
What?
Like you can see the money in production in Starfield. Like what's not quadruple A about Starfield? Like
the loading screens. Can I expect seamless screens? Can I expect seamless gameplay? Can I expect that the loading screens can?
Well, that's just
minimum. That's the
design
bare minimum. No. You sold me on an entire console. No, there's videos on Twitter. There's videos on YouTube of the Microsoft people themselves telling us that this new console, right, the Series X, was going to deliver something that we hadn't seen, virtually no loading screens, and then what are you talking about? It's bare minimum. How is that quadruple A? It's not even triple A.
So you just bring it on, but like you can't use loading as a detractor from something.
I just chose one metric. I could have made an entire list.
Fine, but like I can give you several metrics. Like I brought up Last of Us 2 or Part 2 as a quadruple A game. I can bring up several things in Last of Us 2 that on a game like it looks
shit as the loading screens in Starfield.
Listen, so it looks good, right? It's a great looking game. Visually, it's exceptional. But then when you start to scratch the surface in terms of gameplay, there's a lot of outdated mechanics and mechanics that are just like, if you compare it to the amount of budget that was spent in that game, that could have been tweaked.
Bro, this is the fight you started. I did not say
all I'm saying
was quadruple A. You're the one who put it there.
I don't think you can doubt. Like a lot of people can hate on stuff, but I don't think you can doubt the fact it's a quadruple A game, and it shows in the.
You were wild. You were wild. You need to get a rabies shot. You need to get a rabies shot. Quadruple A. It's barely triple A. It's barely triple A.
What's not how? Explain.
Huh?
Explain. How is it not quadruple A?
I want you to defeat 1 point. I want you to defeat 1 point. Loading screens. That's the one. I'm asking you to defeat 1
But you can't
point.
use
I can't use what?
You can't use one example to detract from the
Starfield. And I don't want anyone in the chat to get me wrong.
So
I love
what?
Starfield. Anyone
Yes.
that goes to check my profile on Xbox, I've played hundreds of hours of Starfield. I'm not trying to act like disingenuous here, but let's be real. Starfield is loading screen, the game. It's so you jump from a loading screen for a little interlude of gameplay, then you jump into another loading screen, then a little interlude, and then another loading screen, and another loading screen, and another. It's loading screen the game, dude.
Look,
Every game has loading screens, but Starfield, it's a bit much.
Check your front pocket, ne? Just open your front pocket. Like I think I see some IGN checks like falling out of
The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here, man.
That's such an IGN deductive statement to reduce that game to just loading screens.
No, before we even get to everything else with the bugs, I'm just saying defeat the 1 point. That's all I'm saying.
It's the most bug-free Bethesda game ever released.
That's not saying much. That is not saying. It's like saying this is the most microtransaction-free EA game, and then you're not impressing anyone.
Would you say Skyrim was a AAA game?
Shit.
Would you say Skyrim, for the time it was released, was a AAA game?
Yes.
Oh, okay, but Skyrim was like one of the buggiest Bethesda releases out there. So how is the AAA game with all the bugs?
You're the one who brought up the point of bugs, brother.
Huh?
I'm saying you're the one who's defending bugs. All I'm saying
you can quantify that.
Skyrim. No, but Skyrim. Hold on, Skyrim when it came out was a leap. Starfield has taken zero leaps. What do you mean in what way? Until Skyrim came out, there hadn't been a fantasy game that was that big, that looked the way it looked, and gave the people that many options. All right. Right now, we look at Skyrim and say it looks mid 2023, but when it came out, it was top notch.
It came out, like it wasn't the
Starfield. Starfield looks whatever. Day one, when it came out, it looked whatever, and I can't believe we're talking about Starfield. You know, let's not talk about Starfield. Can we not talk about Starfield?
Mid when it came out in 2011.
That's bull.
There were so many better.
It wasn't.
The only thing, can I tell you what Skyrim looked better than? It looked better than Oblivion. It looked better than the washed up textures on Oblivion, but it did not look better than games in 2011. Go back to 2011 and look at the quality of the games. We had Mass Effect 2 around that time. We had like so many brilliant, beautiful looking role-playing games. I mean, even like,
you know what? You're not going to make me shit on Mass Effect 2. You're not going to make me do it. But go back and look at Mass Effect 2. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, we need to go back to the topics. Sunrise, welcome in, says 2-second loading screen is nothing. On the PC, sure. I play Starfield on the console. It's not 2 seconds. That's what I will say. No, it ain't. You only go through that because you want to fast travel. Why am I fast traveling, Big Mad Mo?
Tell him.
Why am I also welcome in, Big? It's not tell him. First, welcome in, Big Man Mo. Appreciate the support. Second, why am I fast traveling? I wasn't trying to fast travel in Spider-Man. I wasn't trying to fast travel in Halo.
Well, because the Spider-Man textures weren't loading. But nobody spoke about that. It's not an Xbox.
So what wasn't loading?
The textures.
All right. Drone TJ, welcome in. Let's go back to the quadruple A, because you see, this is why I keep telling everyone, don't bring up Starfield on this show. It completely derails. I think Starfield is a trigger word for any podcast. It's a trigger word, even on Twitter. You know what? On Twitter, if you're bored, guys, go on Twitter and say either Starfield is a masterpiece or say Starfield is a piece of shit. Just say one of the two, and you're going to get engagement galore if you're bored. I swear. These guys, man. Anyway, Drawn TJ, welcome in. So anyway, coming back to this quadruple A, his quote has so many red flags, in my opinion. He said, it's a very big game, and we feel that people will see how vast and complete that is. I don't remember the last time that Ubisoft made a complete game. I feel like before, after Assassin's Creed Origins, that was the last. Sorry, that was the beginning of Ubisoft not making full games. Ever since Origins, it's just been piecemealing people and giving us gigantic open spaces. No doubt, the open spaces are huge, but there's no life to them. It's kind of boring. So when he says when he says this, it's a very big game, and we feel that people will see how vast and complete that game is. Guys, for the pirate aficionados here, you know what? The idea of being a pirate is beautiful. We watch One Piece or whatever pirate material that you watch, Pirates of the Caribbean and whatever. It's very fun. You know why it's fun? Because it's idealized. This sounds like they're going to give us an actual ocean. And you actually have to sail for hours going from one place to another. That's not fun. This is like the Starfield syndrome as well. It's not fun. Space travel is not fun. We like to watch these shows and watch these movies and all that, but it's not fun. What's fun is the space travel you see in Mass Effect. That's fun. So when the developer that is known for making big, gigantic worlds tells you this is big, so it's like, okay, so this is going to be bigger than whatever it is that you made. Are you serious? And then you tell me you see how vast and complete that game is. Your average. My favorite quote is past performance informs future results. If your past performance, like Ubisoft, has been incomplete games, why am I going to believe you now? And then this final part, it's a really full triple ... quadruple A. So did you come up with the quadruple A during the interview? That's another worrying thing, Oshas. It's like you didn't know this was quadruple A until we were talking to you. That's what's happening right now. So this whole quote, man, it's very concerning to me. It's very
it sounds like a cope, because like if the game is good, you don't have to butter it up so much. Like people will be able to sort of give testament to that, which is I think what's been happening last week with Helldivers. True, like a lot of people are saying, regardless of the fact that there was exactly the same issues as Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, because I believe that there were no review copies sent out or anything like that. However, it still got a much more positive response because of the fact that the gameplay loop was good. It's something that's solid and that people could appreciate. And I'm not hearing a lot of chatter. Like I thought, it's not. And again, with most Ubisoft games, it's always the same situation. Ubisoft doesn't make terrible games. They just make games that have very mediocre like gameplay loops. And I just feel that even with Skull and Bones,
just
that
pass the time.
Yeah, I mean, people are just like, people. There's no one that said anything like tremendously negative about it. I've not seen it being attacked like to the same level that Suicide Squad was. But at the same time, no one is really talking about like the game. Like, maybe it'll be mentioned in passing, but it's not really picking up any sort of chatter in my timeline anyway. I don't see much. So yeah, I think if the game was good, it would have spoke for itself. Clearly it's not there, and we know why. I mean, the game has been in development hell for, I think it was almost a decade. I don't know, but it's been
been a minute. 8 years. It's been a minute. Yeah. So X-Man, that's a good point. I thought AAA was rated on story and involvement of gameplay and uniqueness. I don't know if this is a joke, Sir X-Man, or if you're being for real, but I like this comment, and I feel like the whole thing was AAA and AA, it's been something very, everyone interprets it how we want to interpret it. And as far as it is for me, AAA is a combination of budget, who is publishing, because the publisher is going to affect your reach as well as a developer or as a title, right? When it launches, and also the scope of the game. So those three things is what tells me if this is AAA or AA. Cautious. What makes a game AAA for you? Web
So
Dave, appreciate you.
so for me again, it's got to do with the production value translating into the vision, and that's a very very specific sort of thing that like what the director, what the studio wanted to do comes through in the final product, but it comes through with that shine and that polish, and it's something that Sony during the PS4 era has become exceptionally good at. Like for instance, I can say almost every first party game released by Sony during the PS4 era was quadruple A in terms of like quality, and you could tell like where the production value is. But the only thing I'll say is that what Sony completely misses when it comes to their quadruple A experiences is that they introduce nothing new. It's always a very tried and tested sort of formula. Again, like I think quadruple A should also focus on innovation, which is something that Microsoft is much
Uniqueness.
exactly.
That's what
Microsoft is
that's what
much
most of
better
them are.
at giving you like a variety of games. I'll give you like, for instance, a flight simulator. Flight simulator, you can say, is a high budget experience. I'd go as far as saying triple A. I don't think it's really something that you call quadruple A, but it's triple A. But you can see where the money went and how that translated into gameplay and an engaging experience. Their most recent, I'm just trying to think because Microsoft does not have a good track record of having consistent quadruple output. Unfortunately, in the last the most recent example, aside from Starfield, I would say, is the Forza games. I think the Forza games, let me say the Horizon games, because Motorsport was very lacking. It was supposed to be quadruple A, but it just did not translate into that. You can tell that there was money spent on it, but it
No, the
just didn't.
leveling up in Forza Motorsport was the problem. It wasn't the production quality. The
And I know
leveling up in the career is what they messed up.
yeah, but like
Sorry?
I said, like I know that's something that's we're gonna discuss a little bit later as well. But I'll
Yeah,
say
yeah.
with the Horizon games, especially Horizon 5, that comes off as a quadruple A experience. Even though you just played Horizon 4, but dude, like from the first moment that they introduce you into that game, you can tell that there was time, there was passion spent, and they didn't cut back because of budget. So it's all those things coming together. The vision of the creators, the budget and the support from the studios translating into a brilliant gameplay experience overall for the gamer. So that's what I
You
would say.
had to go for the safe route. You just had to. Horizon
Why?
5 is
Why is that
one of the
safe?
best. It's one of the best arcade rally games ever made. But okay,
Exactly.
let's
Because,
go.
again, yeah, and that's for good reason. That's why it's quadruple A. It ticks every
All right.
single box.
All right. All right. Lounge Lizardness, welcome. Lizards, sorry. Lounge Lizards, welcome in. Space travel wasn't bad in No Man's Sky. I played No Man's Sky for like 2 hours, and I can confirm that the space travel wasn't terrible, but the lack of direction, the lack of focus,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I'm sure there's people in the chat that will say that they played through the whole thing and there's a story and it's super engaging and it's super this and super that, but dude, no, it's just very blah to me.
Yeah.
Web Dave, appreciate you. Rachie says, like this quadruple A stream. Hey, as long as you appreciate it, as long as you're having a good time. Last time addition in a show can ruin a game. Oh my God, Rachie, that's not necessary. That is not necessary. All right. Sony's talented, but they don't know how to make money. Oshers, can you be talented and not know how to and your talent not translate to money?
Absolutely, dude. Like there's so many people that are talented that don't like produce the same results as something.
Who, for example?
It depends on which industry are we talking? Are we talking
Pick an easy one. Pick any easy one that we might know of. Gaming. Give us an example.
who's a good studio? Yes, but like you see now, those examples escape me of. But I know that there's a lot of studios that have. You can tell that the vision was there. Like they again. Let's go back to Last of Us Part 2.
Oh my God!
And
I'm the pony, guys. I'm the pony. All right, go ahead.
I'll refer you guys to something like that David Jeffy like he really frequently just harps on about this point about the fact that they're so obsessed about their art and being artists, they don't ask whether or not those experiences are fun. and what they've been producing, and I'm just talking about Sony Studios in general, what they've been producing in the last, let's say, 5 years are these games that take themselves so seriously that it limits the amount of people that they can sort of onboard to play the game. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
The Last of Us 2 controversy was so unnecessary. There's so many decisions there artistically that they could have made that could have accommodated.
Just don't kill Joel.
That's the thing.
Don't
That's exactly.
don't freaking humiliate Joel.
Exactly.
Can we do that?
But Neil Druckmann had a very specific vision, which is what artists always sound like. I had my vision and whatever. I watched that Grounded 2 thing. And my thing was, if they weren't so obsessed about being artists and they were more obsessed about being game creators, none of that would have happened. They could have avoided that whole thing, because if they were focused on gameplay first, they would have found a way to almost wield Abby's story together with Ellie's story without making it such a divisive thing. They did not have to sort of strong arm the people into feeling either way about the characters just to push an artistic point about revenge or whatever. And so that's my problem with artists, is that sometimes they so focus on their vision they forget about the fact that this is also an entertainment product, and you also have existing built-in fan bases that you need to sort of make sure that they're pleased with the product, etc. Unless you're making an indie game. If you're making an indie game and you want to make it the most divisive thing in the world, go ahead, because you're not spending 250 million plus of a studio like Sony's money.
Yeah. Lounge Lizard, that's a very good shout. Cyberpunk is AAA, although it was -A when it launched on consoles. But
is it AAA or quadruple A?
Cyberpunk.
Yo,
I've seen it on PC. I think we could say on PC it's quadruple A. That is a monster game. That's a monster.
That's just, of course, optimization of the technology, no?
Yeah. If you maximize it, the game is a monster. So you see that what's holding the games back, if we are being 100% honest right now, what's holding all of gaming back is these things right here. It's not the devs. It's the machines that they have to optimize the games for. Sexman says Halo is AAA. Yes, we know this. We all know this. No one's gonna fight you, Sexman. No one's gonna fight you. Oshus, what? Are you high? I'm not even gonna give you space for that. No, I'm not gonna give you space for that. No,
it's AAA. Was it Infinite? Again, there was I think they spent almost $1 billion on that game. But yeah, they could have. For the money they spent, I could have done. I think a lot of other studios could have done better than what they got at the end. But that's just.
Well, okay. TJ, welcome in.
Halo didn't launch in a very complete position. I suppose that's the best way to put it.
No, and this is where I bring in my personal take, because I think that's why we're here. Me and you, we're here to give our personal takes, not just what everyone else says, but our personal takes. Me, I am satisfied with the purchase I made of Halo. Because remember, Halo, they made you pay for it to play. To play, you couldn't just go on Game Pass. I forgot how the structure was, but you had to pay for it. And Oshus, I am happy with the purchase. I bought the full game. And I'm super happy with that campaign. I finished it twice, and I'm satisfied. That game, for me, if I have to give a stamps for each game, 1A, 2A, 3A, Halo Infinite is a AAA banger as far as I'm concerned. I never have been into the whole super multiplayer thing. That's why when Power World was trending, you didn't see my profile on it. Helldivers is trending. I'm not playing it. So my personal views, I almost always remove the online aspect when I'm grading a game.
Yeah, so
Halo
I did online
was not complete on plan. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I also never played Halo. I've never been a big Halo one. I'll jump in and out of games, especially in the Master Chief Collection. But I had the complete opposite experience of that when it comes to Halo Infinite. And I had like, and I gave this take a while back when I guested on the pod a while back on Bull Sitting, and I said Halo 5, in my opinion, was better in terms of production value than Halo Infinite, in terms of just
And you are off your rocker to say that shit. But go
yeah,
ahead.
you can
finish
say
the
like,
point.
and I stand by that. But go look at the production values in Halo 5 versus the one biome. Such a cheat, this whole thing of like you can
Cutscenes.
cut this place. Like, come on.
Cutscenes.
But it felt like a much more high production in terms of a traditional AAA game. Yes, it was very flawed, but for a first-person shooter in 2015 when it came out, I felt that it was a better Halo game than what Infinite came out as. Infinite, the only thing that they changed, or the only thing that they sort of tried to experiment with, but I don't see where it ended, was the whole thing of making it semi-open world where you can drive to one, but then the story elements fall apart. Once the opening cutscene is done, the whole story element falls apart. There's almost nothing else except this annoying ass pilot and knockoff Katana. Was it Cortana? And then I'm like, why? Like, why do I need these characters? They don't add to the story. They don't do anything. This guy's just crying the whole time. He's annoying me the whole time. Why am I stuck with this dude? And then the only other thing you do, like, I won't lie, the encounters were nice, where you go to one like little base and then you need to take that out. They could have built a better gameplay loop around that. So I quickly lost interest versus the previous Halo games, which were much more focused. You went from one place.
You were freaking insane. You were insane.
That's my experience. You said most were sharing. I'm just saying.
Freaking out of your mind.
Halo, I'll stand by that. Halo 5, much better game than Halo Infinite.
You're about to die on that molehill. That's what you're about to do.
Especially if you played Halo 5.
Has a question for I did play Halo 5. I did. Big Mad Mo has a question for you. Says anybody could have did that better, yeah? Okay. Naughty Dog says hi, where is Factions? Naughty Dog would have freaking killed Master Chief, or you would have taken off his mask in the video game and probably told us about his gender if Naughty Dog had done this. All right, but go ahead, answer the question. Where's
okay?
Faction?
Yeah. Where's what I was saying? Oh, okay. But yeah, everybody knows that Sony made a blunder.
Everyone knows what, bro. You're the one who said. Anyone could have done it better, right? And you've been harping on about freaking.
But like we're talking about
yes, so where's Faction?
But like we're talking about like the single player part of the experience. But okay, let's get into Factions. That's fine. It's not a subject that
no one's getting into Factions because it doesn't exist.
I agree. For good, but then again, look at like I'll give you an example. This is why I think Sony is in a little bit of a dilemma right now. Going back to Factions. I was looking at all the excitement about Helldivers 2 on the internet, and then I saw the actual numbers behind that excitement. Like it was something like 450k players.
Yeah,
maybe like 23,000 of those are like on PlayStation, the biggest console platform right now. 20 something thousand versus like the rest, all of them are on PC. And to me, it tells you that's the problem. That's why Sony looked at Factions and said, stuff this. Ain't no one gonna play this on PlayStation. PlayStation players don't care about multiplayer, dude. That's why
they do. Actually, you're wrong. You're wrong. They do care about multiplayer because the PlayStation player base, exactly. If it's Call of Duty, if it's FIFA, if it's Madden, etc., etc. The problem is when it's first-party multiplayer. Or Fortnite.
They don't care. Yeah. Like they don't care about anything that's like first party. They don't care. Like I was so shocked because I'm thinking all this excitement is coming from PlayStation players. No, it's PC guys that are really enjoying Helldivers 2. But from the PlayStation side, they're hyping the game up, but none of them are showing up to play the game. That's PlayStation's problem.
All right, we're not gonna bring in the saucy
20,000, 23,000 though. That's everybody was making fun of the fact that there were 7 million people playing Pal World versus like what 12 on or 14.
7 million. Pal World did not get to 7 million.
Yeah, it did on Xbox. 19 million total.
Oh, I thought you were talking about concurrent players on Steam. I thought that's what you were talking
2 million concurrent players. Not
okay.
2 million.
I thought you meant 7. Okay, dude. The smile on your face. You are such an Xbox dude. Can you zip up your jacket? Can you zip it up? It's embarrassing at this point. And then also, can you also stop capping for The Last of Us Part 2 since you're such
And I
a
don't
big
like that game.
Xbox
Like I
fan?
really don't like that game. But I like the first Last of Us, but I really don't like number 2. But I can never deny the fact that it was, in terms of production value, it's exceptionally made.
All right. All right. Well, we both agree that this was cap, correct? That this rubbish about quadruple A.
But like, sorry, this is aside from the subject. Now look at the other like S's I feel for Ubisoft. Look at how poorly Prince of Persia, and I'm sure you've covered this already in a previous pod, but like look at the opposite situation where Prince of Persia is like a double A experience that's exceptional from Ubisoft and no one cares. And then people wonder why Ubisoft just keeps making the same tired old template shit over and over again.
Yeah, but ultimately it's our fault, and this is something that me and Ham have discussed several times, and I also agree with you with your point here. It's ultimately our fault. Corporations are not people. They don't listen to what we say; they listen to what we do.
100%.
So until we stop engaging with the rubbish that they give us, they're going to keep giving us the rubbish.
Yeah,
and it's going to get more rubbish because that's cheaper to make. So here we have the IGN review for Skull and Bones, the so-called quadruple A. Says, and this from Travis Northup, Skull and Bones is a tactical action game where you play as a pirate and sail the high seas in order to become the ultimate pirate kingpin. Before you go, Oshus, I just want to say, is this review... Am I the only one that thinks this review is super sus? Because he did not review the game in this sentence. He did not sum up the game in this sentence. What he did was he took the corporate description of the game and put it there. Am I crazy?
No, you're not. Like, look, I would not put that past IGN. Like, to me, they've got zero rap with me. You know this.
No, stop it. It's not IGN. It's Travis Northup.
Who works for IGN.
All right. Oh my God. All right. You know what? Just finish your spiel.
It's okay.
Finish your spiel. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, interesting. Look at that. It got a quadruple A score. It got exactly the same score as Starfield. 7 out of 10. All Hell Divers, a game with no freaking servers, gets a 9. You know, freaking IGN is so sus, dude. Like they're unjustified. Like you cannot justify how sus they are. How do you give? But anyways, that's beside the point. Like, how do you
seriously? I feel like I should have brought someone else on. What the fuck, dude?
Okay,
you know what? No. If you have something to say about IGN, bro, get it off your chest. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna commission one of those companies that make like those things that light up behind you. I'm gonna make one like an IGN logo and I'm gonna put it behind you.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Okay, but besides that, I think you're absolutely right. That little summary there does sound like a copy and paste. There's no sort of assessment of the actual product that the person played in that. So if you read that summary, it tells you nothing. You might as well have read the corp like outlet or whatever that was sent out.
Yeah.
By
Gone
Ubisoft.
to their website and read their description post. It's the same value.
Yeah. But I'm surprised it got a 7 though. That's still a very high score for a game that a lot of people see feels empty.
Rachie, thank you so much for the super chat. $2 Canadian. What will be the ranking of Star Citizen? A to the root of 10. A's. That's a lot of A's. That's how many A's is to the? That's wild. Is 10 A's? No, that's not going to happen, Rachie, because Star Citizen will not actually launch. It will never launch. We are going to die. Our children will still be watching Star Citizen develop. That's what's going to happen. Lounge Lizard does not like the corporal sellout. Big Man Mo, what almost killed 343 is the motherfucking devs that weren't doing their fucking job. They were prototyping in another engine. That's why they got fired. Oh, okay. I didn't have that extra context. Hey, the legendary Yobi, welcome in. Says corporations are ran by who? Oh, okay. People. Yeah, but here's how it is, Yobi. Here's how it is. You, and I'm sure you know at least a little bit about this because you're an adult, so you have had a job before. It is possible for a large amount of people within an organization to hold a specific view and thought, but not be able to do anything in service of that view and thought. It is possible, especially when we're talking about corporations with shareholders and board members. So you can have your CEOs, you can have your COOs, etc., but they only have so much power in terms of steering the ship. And here, when we talk about things like freaking microtransactions and the vision for a game that has had so much money put into it, it's like trying to turn one of those gigantic tankers when you're already in the Suez Canal. It's not possible. This thing needs to to go all the way to the end, and then you can try and twist and turn. Cautious, does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's always been just like a problem, man, that Ubisoft has always had. But yeah, like I always feel that like there's one. It's like I just wish that they had someone that was in charge of creative, because all their like there's nothing wrong with their gameplay loops generally, but they don't have someone to say, okay, cool, how do we put a good story to, let's say, a Valhalla? Like, how do we create a good narrative that's gonna engage the person? How do we stop on like the creep factors where the game just becomes too big, too insurmountable in terms of like, how do we take that 65 plus hour experience and condense it into something that is great for like 20 to 25 hours? They've just always liked someone to just like almost polish the product and just and also just focus on the more story or the more narrative elements, because everything else, like I love so many Ubisoft games, but none of them, in terms of especially narrative, none of them are great. They just, I really wish they could.
Except the earlier Assassin's Creed games, right?
I didn't like any of those games.
God damn it, Oshus, you were working my last nerve.
Yeah, I hate
That's
those.
what you're doing
I
right
don't
now.
hate them, but they're not my type. Like I thought Assassin's Creed 2 was good, but it really isn't a game that really got me at that time. I think I was more into GTA 5. That's around the time it came out. Yeah, man, like I didn't like those early Assassin's games. Like I'll be lying to you. I really started getting
Right,
into
you know what,
Assassin's
just
Origins.
let's skip your bad take. Let's skip your bad take of one of the best trilogies in all of gaming. Let's just skip
Which was
that.
that? Like what? Assassin's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, but 3 was whack though as a game, was it not? Like, doesn't that the consensus?
Revelations.
No, but Revelations and Brotherhood were when the expansions of 2.
Well, it's Assassin's Creed 2, right? Where Ezio Auditore's story starts,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's Revelations, and then
Mm-hmm.
Brotherhood. That's the trilogy for me. The Ezio trilogy. That's
Okay.
the greatest
Oh,
trilogy
I thought
in the
which one?
whole of Assassin's Creed.
One. Okay, and I thought you were talking
No,
about
no,
one.
the first
And
story out there is okay. 2 obviously is a masterpiece, and Assassin's Creed 3 bringing it to America was not a good fit for me personally. I didn't enjoy it. I finished the game, bringing in the whole Conway thing and whatever. I wasn't feeling that, but whatever.
Mm.
Yobi, I know, and yes, I know. Like for example, no matter how much change I want to make at my job, it's never gonna happen. Exactly. And you'll be, even if you and like a crew of your manager level colleagues decide to make a concerted effort to change something within the company, it's not going to happen like so. And in terms of game development, can you imagine if you were working at Ubisoft and you're one of the higher ups and you guys create like a clique and then you guys want to change how things work at Ubisoft? even if Even if you wanted to, this thing is already midway development. 2020, 2018, it's already too late. You would have to tear the whole thing down and restart to then make something that makes sense. And you wouldn't get approval from the board, you wouldn't get it from the investors, you wouldn't get it from anyone, because they're like, yo, we've already put money into this, we need to get our dividends from this investment. So there was no way this was going to work out, even if they wanted to change it.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I thought this review was very sus, and I wanted to bring it up because obviously I'm the IGN shill here, right? But this for me was very like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable with this. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to check to see if maybe I'm crazy. I'm happy to know I haven't lost my mind. Let's get this super chat before we move on to the next topic. John TJ says, Skull and Bones, thank you so much for the $2 super chat, bro. Says, Skull and Bones is really good. Is it? John TJ, please give us 3 points. Bullet form. Let's do this. Because before you hopped in here, it was consensus. And this thing is mid to bad. So please tell us, what makes it good? Just 3 things. If you can point out 3 things, I'm interested. All right. Next, the next scam in gaming besides AAA gaming. Quadruple A gaming. Virtual currencies are fictions. Take-Two argues in microtransaction theft lawsuit. So this lawyers representing Take-Two have called virtual currency fictions created by game publishers in response to a class action lawsuit concerned with the company's handling of microtransactions. The suit accuses the NBA 2K, PGA Tour 2K, and WWE 2K publisher of stealing from players because it doesn't allow them to transfer virtual currencies from past series entries to new ones when they're released. I'm going to pause it right there. I will pause it right there, and then we're going to continue the article. Oshis, one of the first experiences I ever had with microtransactions was the FIFA Ultimate Team in the Champions League edition. I think it was 2008, if I'm not mistaken. And I had to convince my brother to put money into it. And he was like, okay, give me the terms and conditions before I spend this $10. Because in the States, $10 is whatever. Here, $10 is $10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He read those terms and conditions. He found the specific point that said, as soon as the next FIFA Champions League edition comes out, like next year, this is not going to translate to the next one. As a child, when he came back and he explained it to me, I wasn't a child, fine. But as a youngster, when he explained that to me, my mind exploded. Because then I was like, wait, we're going to buy this. And then next year, when the next FIFA comes out, this has no value. And my little pea brain mind at that time was like, this will never take off. No one's going to invest in something that has value for 5 minutes. In gaming, I think a year is like 5 minutes. It's not a long time. No one's going to invest in this and then be okay with investing in the exact same thing next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. You know what I mean? I was dead wrong.
Yeah, and it's happening.
Dead wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Go
look
ahead.
at like how bad it got. Like, a lot of people, funny enough, funny story. Like, a lot of people forget that a lot of the microtransactions or loot boxes that we see now, they started in Mass Effect 3. The multiplayer component of Mass Effect 3 introduced a lot of those, and then they started being
Really?
adapted to other EA games. Yeah. Like, for instance, that's why EA is almost at the forefront of this, and they're so good with monetizing things like FIFA as well as NFL, which is their two biggest franchises, I think, in terms of just monetary wise. And again, look, it goes back to what we said earlier. Um, I think you can swear until you're blue in the face at like the horrible practices from the evil corporations, but at the end of the day, people are voting with their wallets, and people keep buying this stuff, and people. So that's why I kind of like I'm tired of hearing criticism of FIFA Ultimate Team and NFL Ultimate because
Let me
it's
tell you why.
players that enable the.
No.
If
Now
people
I'm gonna
stop buying
change.
nonsense,
Okay, finish your point.
then none of it. Like we would not have. Then to your point, you made this point earlier. The direction of the corporates is based on what people are incentivizing in terms of monetary value, what they're putting money
Yeah.
into, and clearly people have said we want more. Every single time a
Mhm.
new FIFA comes out, every single time a new NFL comes out, and as a result, those games are suffering. I mean, if I have to watch another Angry Joe video about how outdated the NFL engine is,
Engine is.
yeah, like and
It's
the
a religion at this point.
yeah, and my thing is go back to the golden age of football, of not just like football games, which for like soccer games, if we're talking about football,
Don't you
was around
dare. Don't you
this one
dare
and
call
then
it
those
soccer.
two. Yeah?
Don't you dare.
Well, I'm
Don't you
just
dare
saying, like
call it
for
soccer.
American audience, is that like that's when you had
Bruh,
the
if they don't get it, they're gonna figure it out. Don't worry.
and also the NFL games. Go back to the time where you had like, for instance, different companies. You had Sega making the 2K NFL games. You had
Am's favorite NFL game, I think, is 2K4, something like that.
yeah, like
It's
it
got
was
a very immersive career.
And I don't know if it was Angry Joe, another creator that went and actually got like features that were available in those games and compared them to the feature set of an NFL game today. And it's like those games were had so much in terms of feature, they were so feature rich. Even in terms of customizations and things like that, the celebrations, how the game, like for instance, and like I know football, NFL is quite complicated in terms of how you structure your plays and all those kind of things, but it already had mechanics that are completely missing in today's game. And I look at that and I say the only reason that that continues to happen is because people continue every year to give their money to EA so they can get the same thing with just updated rosters, which is what FIFA and NFL have become. It's just update the roster and update the menus for this year, but it's exactly the same thing that you're getting as what you got last year for $70. Nah? Is it 70? Nah?
It's $70. Some
Yeah.
people go for the ultimate edition, and that's just to buy in. You haven't even started the microtransaction. That's just for you to get the base game, the one that everyone knows, like just happened a couple of weeks ago. The same game that comes out in October, November, everyone knows will be on Game Pass by January.
Yeah.
But it still gets bought, and people still engage deeply with the
Yeah.
microtransaction. But let me
So I
tell you why it's worth going in on these practices, and why
mm,
it's worth going blue in the face. Although because of my pigment, going blue is not an option for me. But anyway,
maybe
before maybe what?
purple.
Oh God! Before we get into that, let me read the super chat. John TJ, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. It says the graphics are amazing. Bling. I love sinking ships. I guess that's something. And the fact you can play with your friends. John TJ, you brought up 1 point to justify this purchase, because Sea of Thieves lets you sink ships and it lets you play with friends.
And it's
Graphics,
on
I guess, is this is not a marketing thing for Xbox. That's not what
Game
it is. We're not doing that.
Pass.
We are not. Nope. Anyway, the point why it's good for you to bring for me and everyone else to keep bashing on this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, is because we need to always to paraphrase from King, hold the line in everything, not
Respect the
just
king.
in Xbox, not just in Xbox, but we need to hold the line in everything, everything that you believe, right? If you believe that microtransactions are bad, even if it is a popular thing to interact with today, you need to speak on it. If you believe it's a good thing, also speak on it. Why? Because the world is built off of ideas being shared. And if you are not propagating your idea, you best believe the person that believes in something opposite of you is going to propagate their idea. It's that simple. It's a competition of ideas. If the Xbox guys are quiet in the console war, the Sony guys, their idea is going to get heard. Maybe not by the Xbox guys, but by that new kid that just discovered gaming. Is curious and is like, what community should I lean into? As soon as he rocks up, no one talks to him on Xbox. When he posts something on Twitter and is like, I like Xbox, no one's responding to him. When he posts and is like, I like PlayStation, boom, you got 20 friend requests. People are sending you like codes to come hang out. Some people are even sending you video game codes. Like, yo, you should play God of War. Here's a code for God of War Ragnarok. All right. Tell me what you think about that. That is a way to lobby, right? Everything is lobbying. And me, I am lobbying. And I want everyone that hates microtransactions to lobby. Like fucking psycho. Dude, the whole SJW thing with the Americans. Remember when people like Nerdrotic used to be treated like pariahs? Remember when they were the conspiracy theorists? Remember when people used to look at them like these guys are dreaming? It's a straw man. It doesn't exist. And what happened? What happened? Sweet Baby showed up. A bunch of other companies showed up. Now we're like, oh, so it wasn't a conspiracy. This is real. This is happening. So that's why you should always lobby against the things you don't like. Shit on microtransactions. Tag me if you need a like. If you need a like, if no one's liking your hate on microtransactions, hit on microtransactions, then tag me. I'll like that shit. And then if you don't want to tag me, DM it to me. I'll go to your tweet and I will like it. Because I think microtransactions are the devil's balls. That's what I think microtransactions are. Fuck them.
You're right. I agree with you. I think the dude said something in the chat about the majority of the game industry profits come from 20% of the consumers.
Yes.
I think it's such a good observation. The whales. If you've ever played any of these gacha type games like your Clash of Clans and all that, or is it?
I easily scroll past that shit. As soon as I find a game that's pay to win, I'm out. And I don't feel guilty about it. I don't feel like I've lost anything. I just move on with my life. But go ahead.
Most people, like, it's the same thing with like gambling. Like, these guys are not like, and again, these trials, if you've watched them, the only thing that's stopping like, especially the guys that are like the representatives that talk about this stuff, the same guys that came up with surprise mechanics for loot boxes, like, these people, they understand psychologically. They bring in psychologists to say, how can we get people to be addicted to us like crack? So it's like they build in the stuff that is going to manipulate. And again, that's like, if you think about just how evil that is, for the lack of a better
word.
Evil. Like,
it's not evil.
It is, dude. Like, why would you do that? Why would you?
Let me tell you why it's not evil.
Okay, can I just finish this point?
Okay, go ahead.
So if again, going back to the whole thing about like why I feel that it's evil is that if our medium is supposed to be a fun medium, like, look at I suppose Nintendo's not a wonderful example, but look at Nintendo games and what they are at they're about having fun. Like, what the first game I want to introduce when I have kids, my kid to, is a Mario game. It's not violent.
Yes, do it.
Like, it's a Mario Zelda game, something that is about adventure. because those are the games I fell in love with when I started gaming. It's about adventure, exploration, about discovery and things like that. There is you look at that and there's an innocence to that. But the moment you construct a game from scratch to just pull on a person's hook at the back of their head, it's so manipulative, in my opinion, because you're not trying to make a product that's going to be fun. You're trying to make something that's going to take advantage of a person's weaknesses so they can spend more money. That's how you build the game now. That's why the moment I hear live service or guest game, I know that you're building a trap. You're building something that the moment I grab the cheese, my hand is stuck. Now I've got to do something else to try and incentivize you to get my hand out of there. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And I don't want to turn this into an Andrew Tate podcast, but the dude brings up a good point. He said it's called discipline. Got to resist the urge. That being said, I will never tell you what to do with your money. Just food for thought. Dude, the same way it's our fault that they keep making these games, it's everyone else's fault that's spending the money. It's their fault that they're spending the money. You can't control yourself, right? No, you don't own yourself. When you play video games, see, when I turn on my console, and this is something that I've even spoken to my sons about, when you turn on your video game, when you do anything for entertainment, whether it's video games, Instagram, whatever, know that you're in control. And always remind yourself that you're in control.
Yep.
You must purposefully be in the game. And it's something weird to talk about because everyone says, obviously, I'm in the game, I'm playing it. It's like, no. You must purposefully know that you are playing a game that is bringing you nothing but just enjoyment.
Exactly.
You must purposefully know that you're just scrolling. And when you keep reminding yourself of that, you can control yourself. You can analyze what you're doing. You can beat the puzzles on God of War without needing that annoying voice that cuts you off. And when EA presents you with a shitty microtransaction, you can easily be like, oh, okay, this is the point where I just stop and I move on with my life, right? So people need to focus on being in control of themselves. You need to live life on purpose, not by mistake. Don't just let it happen, right? Because that's how you end up spending millions on your microtransactions, or even spending on microtransactions. You won't catch me doing it. The most I have ever engaged with microtransactions is DLC. That's it. But let's get back to this article.
Yeah.
It's called Take-Two's approach. It calls Take-Two's approach unfair, illegal, and greedy, as virtual currency purchased with real money is lost when the game's servers are switched off, which plaintiffs argue is relatively quickly following the release of new series entries. So again, the 5 minutes I was talking about. Here's a quote. By removing plaintiff and class members, VC defendants took and stole their personal property or fraudulently appropriated property that had been entrusted to defendant, according to the suit, which was filed in federal court last November. Terms and conditions, people. I might be wrong, but I'm assuming that if you read the terms and conditions, you don't own the VC. You don't own the character that you've leveled up. I'm just guessing. I haven't read the terms and conditions, but I'm just assuming that's what it says. All right, but let's carry on here. VC is not plaintiff's property. Take-Two's lawyers responded last week. There you go. Instead, in-game VC are fictions created by game publishers, subject to the publisher's terms of service and user agreements. I swear I haven't read this article. I promise. Most of the articles, I just checked the headline and then I add it as a subject. I promise I haven't read this. I'm not trying to act like some like Da Vinci guy that sees the future or whatever. According to Take-Two's end-user license agreement, which players must agree to before using software, VC and VG are strictly non-transferable. There you go. There you go. All purchases of VC and VG are final, and under no circumstances will such purchases be refundable, transferable, or exchangeable. It reads. That's what the license agreement, the one that everyone buys after you buy 2K, and then you quickly say agree. You are agreeing that that's what VC and VG is. Except as prohibited by applicable law, licensor has the absolute right to manage, regulate, control, modify, suspend, and or eliminate such VC or VG as it sees fit in its sole discretion. And licensor shall have no liability to you or anyone else for the exercise of such rights. So on top of them being able to just wipe you out for the next game, even during your current game, they can take your VC. And there's nothing you can do. The one that you paid for, is nothing you can do about it. Oshis, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Like, like there's a an ancient saying that a fool and his money are soon departed. And like, there's so many
soon
other
parted. Soon parted.
Yeah. And then there's another one that goes something like, like when a man with experience meets a man with money, the man with money walks away with, the man with the money walks away with the experience, and the man with the experience walks away with the money. And that's exactly what's happening here. Is again, these people they're bringing experts in to try and trick you into being able to spend on games. The moment you bring a psychologist in to be able to tell you about human behavior and how you can manipulate human behavior, that is, to me, that is so unscrupulous, dude. That is some next level super stuff. Have you heard that video of was it Rotello, the previous EA CEO, talking about how he's gonna monetize bullets, and as you're running out of ammo, then you start to get the prompts that you need to buy an ammo refill for you to be able to continue the game.
I remember that.
And they played that sinister Sith music in the background as he's talking.
Yeah.
And perfectly aligned in terms of what he's saying. Because that's how evil that stuff is, man. But again, to be fair, we've allowed.
Dude, if we're talking evil, and for me, the reason why I kind of defend the companies, as soon as we go into the evil part, it's kind of like, dude, it's your responsibility not to be a moron.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And it's your parents' responsibility. It's your parents' responsibility to teach you not to be an idiot. Right. But me as a businessman, I'm just going to think about maximizing my profits. So my rent is 10,000 Rand.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't make sense, that's a you problem. If you decide to come and live in my place and you earn 20,000 Rand and you're trying to live off half your income, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem, dog. Right? Mm-hmm. So the only reason he brought that up is because you have made yourself susceptible to such attacks. There's a reason it doesn't work in every industry. There's a reason. There's a reason it works in gaming mostly.
Can you imagine a movie with DLCs where, if, like, for instance, like you're watching or a show with DLC or microtransactions in the middle of the show, you have to then maybe buy the ending that you need or you want. Can you imagine that sort of experience? Just how nasty that whole thing.
But we let it happen. We let it happen.
Because we had perfect. If you go back to PS2 transitioning into 360 or PS3 360, we had the perfect gameplay structure. DLCs still worked as expansions, so you were getting a part. If you liked the game, you were getting more of what you wanted.
Yes.
And then slowly but surely, the more online games became, or the more online focused games became, then there was a transition to now all the stuff that you could unlock in the game for free before, or using cheat codes. Now you had to pay for them or play
Tekken. Yeah. My game. I love Tekken. They took away the function of unlocking fighters. Now they tell you before you even get the damn thing, yo, this game is incomplete. We are going to nickel and dime your ass for the next 8 years. Or you can play this, you can buy the Super Ultimate Edition for $100.
Yeah.
Pick your poison. Pick your poison. And I just wanna respond to Lounge Lizard's point here. It says nobody ever reads Eulers except your brother. That's true. Even I didn't read it. I just believed what he said off off the rip. I was just like, I'm not gonna read that. I printed it. Remember back in the day, Ushers, when you'd print
Yep.
those things at the print shop, and it's like 9 pages. Anyway,
Yeah.
I printed the thing and I gave it to him to read. We just click OK, then get rough fucked. I don't do DLC or microtransactions personally. So here's the thing, Lounge Lizard. My point is to exactly what Osha said. Osha says he's tired of hearing people bitch about microtransactions. Microtransactions have reached a certain level in gaming. Osha, tell me if I'm lying.
Mm-hmm.
The idea and the bitching of microtransactions is reached a certain level that anyone that is even sporadically involved in gaming is well aware of the manipulation that's going on. Can we agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, dude, like the fact that people are complicit in microtransactions in cell phone games, which is the biggest gaming sector in the world right now, which is why
Yes.
Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard to get King.
Yes.
Because people are doing microtransactions, dude, on Candy Crush. So can you imagine how bad it's gonna be now in a medium or in a box that is made just for gaming? Like why everyone is just pivoting towards that. And I think again, it goes back to that thing that like if we want to stop all these practices, we need to sort of instead of like fighting over like who's got the over all these digital foundry type nonsense comparisons between PlayStation and Xbox.
You can
Like
see
we
the
need
ass hair on this one, but you can't see the ass hair on that one.
exactly. Like instead, like I don't know if you've seen that that Planet of the Apes meme where the one ape is holding the two sticks together and he's like ape together strong. Like that's what gamers need to do. Like whether you're on Xbox, whether you're on PC, Steam, PlayStation, we need to sort of like say, you know what, we've had enough of this. Like again, if the companies can motivate the value to say this is what you're gaining as a player, this is the pro, this is what we're giving you in return for your spend, then that's fine. To me, that's fine. That by that I mean not giving me something that like for instance with the Ultimate Team example you made, where it expires the moment I have to buy the next version of that. Come up with more creative microtransactions for your next Ultimate Team. Come up with something different that justifies me having bought it previously. Like if
who's gonna make you come up with something different? I'm not making you come up with something different. I keep giving you money.
Exactly.
Right? Because you used to sell me fresh bananas. Now they're half rotting. I'm still giving you the same amount of money.
That's
so
the thing.
Why but like me and all your other customers, we're still giving you the same amount of money. You are not motivated.
So why should I change? So if I'm EA, why should I change? What's the incentive?
Why should you go further to get better product if we're paying for the same rubbish?
Can I give you an example where we saw that live play out? And that's with a Rockstar. Go back to Rockstar. Every time you go back 5 to 10 years back in Rockstar's history, they used to release more and more single player based experiences.
It was a different company.
But today, like I think it was the last time they released an expansion pack for a game was GTA 4, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they were. No, wait. Red Dead came out to GTA 4, no? The first Red Dead.
Yeah, no, I think the Red Dead came out after GTA 4.
Yes. So Red
Dead was the last one.
Yeah, it was the Undead Nightmare expansion.
Yeah.
That's the last time they actually made single player content. Ask yourself, you're telling me a game as successful as GTA 5 has never had one single player expansion. But every month I'm seeing ads for a street, a mod thing with for cars and whatever. And I'm thinking, those are the guys that probably made Midnight Club that are working on that. And then there's another expansion for Smuggler's Run. And I'm like, but Smuggler's Run was a standalone game. Now it's an expansion part of GTA 5. So you never ever gonna see Rockstar ever again give you single player content because of the fact that people have said no, we prefer online content. That's part of the live experience versus just stuff that we can pay once off. And they used to make brilliant expansion packs. I remember the GTA 4 ones, the Parable of Gay Tony, and I forgot the other one, the Lost and the Damned. But you'll never get that. You'll never get that again from
not gonna happen.
The only thing you're gonna get in 6 is just the primary game that they're gonna release for another 2 decades, and then after that is just the supportive stuff that comes with it.
That's it.
And that's so terrible.
You're gonna own nothing. You're gonna have nothing. You're gonna love it. And to your point, Oshus, here's IMAX says the day they charge for bullet reloading, restocking in video games is the day video games start to die. And IMAX, to Oshus's point, video games will never die. They will never die. They will evolve, and people like you and people like me are going to play less and less. But video games are going to make more and more money, and they're going to make more and more video games. That's all that's going to happen. All we can hope for is that AI video games make like a gigantic leap in the next 5 to 10 years. Why? Because then you can have people like you, people like me, people like Oshus, people like Cozy making games for gamers. Because if you're depending on the AAA gigantic publishers, you're losing. It's a losing fight. They're gone, right? They're that X, right? They're that X that didn't just leave you. Like she slept with your best friend, and then she hooked up with like your professor, right? She's never coming back. Like there's no hope. Give up. Move on. That's the reality of it. So yeah, this lawsuit's happening, and I feel sorry for the people that are suing Take-Two. Because Oshus, can we agree? They have no chance.
No chance in hell. To quote.
Yeah. On some Vince McMahon. No chance in hell.
I was saying to quote a great man. I suppose you can't say that anymore about Vince. Ish.
Oh man. Listen. That you know that quote that says never meet your heroes.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. That's pretty much where we're at right now.
The world we live in, man. Like people are people. Like we put them on pedestals, but people are people, bro. Oh yeah, the dude said earlier on, I saw this and I thought this was cool. He said, where's this comment? It's pretty straightforward.
Is the one where he says he hates loot boxes?
Nope, he said just leave a like.
Oh, okay.
Please do so.
Sir X-Man, thank you so much for the super chat. Says Cozy, play Halo Master Chief with us this weekend. Cozy, follow the instructions, all right? And this instruction has a super chat attached to it, so you have to do it. So X-Men also says that's like Epic will not release a new Unreal Tournament game because of Fortnite. You just have to let it go, guys.
Can you imagine, dude?
It's over.
It's like Valve and then Half-Life. Like if you're still holding that torch, bro, like come on, bro, let go. It's too late, man. Like those companies are just
there's no Half-Life 3. It's not happening.
Never gonna happen. Like you guys made sure that Steam was like, if you look at like Steam's player count, it's ridiculous in terms of like daily active users. You're never gonna see Half-Life again. And that's my worry with Xbox primarily. When everybody talks about this doom and gloom, is that if Xbox gets to a point where Game Pass is so successful that they don't need a Halo anymore, they don't need a Gears anymore, you're never gonna see those franchises again, because there'll be very little incentive for them to make those if the platform is performing more than the games. I mean, we've seen this with Fortnite. Fortnite is not a game. It started off as a game, but now it's a platform.
Yeah. There's other games being made within Fortnite.
It's like they're trying to do that whole Oasis thing where you're bringing every single franchise, every single recognizable iconic thing into the game, and that becomes the game.
Yeah.
And to me, that's not a game. That's what they suppose they call a games as a service, which is one of the most loaded words ever. And like you look at things like that, I'm like, dude, what happened to just making games? But what I had so much joy with my PS2 because I just put in a game and I played games. There was nothing over and above that. But
Yeah.
now there's all this other stuff, man. Like, and to the stuff that you touched on about the sweet baby stuff that's now being imposed on, into gaming. It's become, there's all these agendas and all these things that are just, they've got nothing to do with you just coming back from work, popping in a game and just relaxing. That's it.
Exactly. And also the way they twist the words, games as a service.
Ugh,
Bro,
I hate that word.
Are you telling me y'all weren't serving me before?
Exactly. I was getting the service.
Is that what you're telling me?
Like,
What?
dude, like I still remember the first God of War. Like the first God of War was one of at that time I'd never played a game that was so end to end just a game. It wasn't trying to be a
Yes,
movie.
it was
It was a
fire.
game. You could tell that this person who made, or the team that made the game, their focus was how can we make the best gaming experience possible. And a lot of people that got onto Halo around that time will tell you the same thing. A lot of people that played Halo 2 at that time will tell you the same thing. It was just a game that was meant, and again, it's a multiplayer game, but it was at the core of it, it was supposed to be a good game. It was supposed to be a game that people will come back from work and enjoy. And I think a lot of that is missing now. People are looking for. It's the same thing with movies. It's about content. How much content? The moment a person talks about how much content can we produce to fill this quarter or this space, I say, you know what? Keep your content. I don't give a crap about your content. Give me games. Give me stuff that I care about.
Another thing I wanted to add to this one is here the dude's got some proper comments. You should come in here more often. The dude says games of the gamers, by the gamers, and for the gamers. To that idea that I put out about AI making game development easier and more accessible for people like me, you, and Cozy that don't have time, right, to learn how to code and whatever. Imagine if AI becomes our savior, and that's why everyone is freaking out about AI. Everyone in the gaming industry, because the only people that are freaking out, if you pay attention, the only people that are freaking out are the people that could lose out. They're the ones who are pissed. We stand to benefit.
Yeah,
They're the ones who stand to lose out.
If I could give you an example, Nelok, if you, I'll use an example. I suppose it's not really an allegory, but an analogy of like where gaming is and where we're going in the future. And I just hope that independent creators don't fall for that trap. When YouTube, like I think, to me, YouTube peaked around 2015. That's when you had some of the best content ever created by indie creators in the world. Like you had so many awesome channels,
and there was no censorship.
Yeah. Yes, and then there was almost no censorship in terms of your content because of the fact that the advertising revenue had not taken over how the platform is ran. And over the last, if you look at what's happened up until where we are now, like so many people have sold out because of that advertising, those advertising bucks, that they've literally converted their platforms on YouTube into these stale sort of rinse and repeat, so that you can try and they're no longer trying to produce content, they're trying to fight the algorithm. They're trying to produce things that are going to trigger the algorithm to sort of make their channels more popular, which was not the original intent, which was to create creative content. I hope in gaming they don't fall for that trap when it comes to indie creators and using tools like AI. I hope they don't fall for a trap where a big platform, and in this example, the best, let's say like a Game Pass, or I don't know if you can use Steam in this example, where they can get co-host by the platform to say, listen, will give you advertising incentive if
Mm-hmm.
we can control the sort of games you make for us. I hope people don't fall for that, where people try and monetize indie gaming in the same way, like, for instance, indie content. Because YouTube used to be the place for indie content. But the problem with or what happened with YouTube is that instead of creators saying, you know what, we're going to hold you guys ransom, and if you don't meet our conditions, we'll go to another platform that will offer us the same sort of incentives or better incentives, but will keep our
Come
creativity.
on, that was
But
never going to happen.
but like, look, there was Dailymotion at the time. There were other platforms that were there that, but the advertising revenue was so attractive that people didn't go for those. And I think those are so important. And I hope in gaming we can, because to me, indie gaming is the future. Like what we're currently doing
Yeah,
now is
yeah.
dying. The whole thing is going to fall apart very shortly. Um, I think indie gaming is where it's at, and that's where most, to your point,
The
the
good
easier
games. That's where they're
it
coming
becomes.
from.
Yeah, but I mean, the easier it becomes to make a game, to put together a game, or where a couple of people can come together and create a game. Maybe I'm good at story writing, you good at programming, and then we can go take
Yeah.
something like what is that platform that everybody uses on mobile to make games? That's become very problematic recently.
Angazi,
Uh,
angazi.
it escapes me, but it's that engine. It's almost like, oh, let's use Unreal Engine, for instance. If we can
Okay.
all use the tools, like you understand how to program using Unreal Engine, I understand how to put together a story, and someone else is maybe good at putting together music, and then we can come together and create those experiences. I think that is going to become the future of where we go, and that's exciting
Because
for me. That's what I'm
and
interested in.
the thing is, indie gaming is already, in my opinion, the foundation of gaming.
Mm.
Indie gaming is where the good games are at right now. Because you look at games like Sifu, that was not like a big studio that did it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Vampire Survivors, same thing. Power World, same thing. What
Exactly.
happens is, what happens is, me and you, right? It's a cycle. It's cyclical. Me and you and Cozy and Ham and Matt will come together. We'll make a game. It's going to be great. We're going to make millions of dollars. As soon as Microsoft comes in, they're probably going to buy us out.
Yep.
And when they do that, what's going to happen? Let's say we name our studio The Dude Entertainment. They're going to get to keep that logo, but we're gone. And
Yeah,
then people will buy the sequels of the games that we made, and they're going to slap the Dude Entertainment on it, and people
yeah,
will give it value because it says The Dude Entertainment. But then we're going to go and then we're going to create a new one. That's what's happened. That's what happened to BioWare. It's what happened to a whole bunch of other developers and publishers.
yeah,
The actual people that made the thing work, the LeBron James, the Michael
yeah,
Jordan, the people that made it turn, they're out. It's just the logo that's still there. Maybe a couple of people from admin, but the actual heart and soul of the dev team is gone. Which leads into probably why Phil Spencer has kind of adopted this whole thing of acquire and then maybe take a little step back to give space to the people that have made the thing what it is to continue to do it. Let me get the super chat real quick. Sir X-Man, thank you so much for this $2 super chat. AI Loke, it's over. World domination, we're done. I'm
Skynet.
AI. Listen. Everything that has a beginning has an end. All right. I'm not, I don't have a gigantic ego for the human race. I'm just being honest. We started somewhere. There's going to be a day when there's no
Yeah,
humans, but that's a discussion
I,
for another day.
yeah. Like I think, like I don't know if you watch is it Love, Death, and Robots
Yeah,
on.
I seen it. Good show. Good show.
Yeah, it's a very good show. Yeah. I think, yeah, like in the future, like I think the what we're creating, and we don't realize it in AI, is that we're creating our replacements, because one day AI will be able to replace us in almost every single way, and I think the only time we're gonna leave this planet is through AI. What I mean by that is because we can't survive a journey, my man, to another galaxy. But if you built machines that had all our
Yet,
intelligence, all our
yet,
be able to survive.
It's not that
Yeah.
we can't survive. It's we can't survive yet. But go ahead, finish your thought.
Yeah. So my thing is like what your best solution is to like sort of like put everything in like an embryonic frozen state and then have AI run the ship to go colonize another planet. But for humans to do that, I think it would be very complicated because we bring like look at what we've done with social media, dude. Like whenever you give us new technology or a new platform, we turn it into this divisive, corrosive thing that just goes nowhere. If you put a bunch of humans on a ship and you send them to another galaxy, dude, they'll kill each other before they get there. There'll be so much conflict with those people that they'll never make it there alive.
Like there could be enough meals for everyone. Everyone lives in the same space in terms of like your room size and you could do everything and still it'll turn into a shit show.
I believe that.
Oh my goodness. Aushas, Lounge Lizard has something for you. It says
Yeah, I
NFT and
see.
all the bullshit cashes in on the indie look, and the market is flooded with vapid games that hide the real devs.
Truth.
Yep. The dude, millions, where do I sign up? Oh, dude, I'll send you the contract. Don't worry. I got you. I got you. Mojang is the best example of an amazing standalone game being taken. Yeah, yeah. They made Minecraft, and then what happened?
They've
Vampire
all
Survivors.
Microsoft does exactly. Like, and that's why I think who's this Bungie left Microsoft because they knew that if they were,
You're
they'd
gonna
still
get
be
swallowed up.
games. Huh?
Yeah, they'll still be making they'll be making better Halos than 343
Yeah,
in my humble opinion.
I think so.
Harvest Moon tried to take advantage of the name, but we know the OF is now called Story of Season. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Is it like the Bulls without Jordan and Pippen? Not those Bulls. No, not those ones. Not even the ones with Derrick Rose. Couldn't even make it to like a finals. Like, no, never mind. Never mind. God says everything is written in his book, so it's not impossible to make a copy of ourselves. Man, we're getting into some really esoteric stuff here, but let's move on to Helldivers doing numbers. Helldivers 2 devs temporarily kept concurrent players to around 450,000 to help with server stability. So Arrowhead took to Helldivers 2's Discord to share the news, saying it's working around the clock to solve problems players are running into. Here's the quote. Hello, hello, divers. Earlier tonight, we had server-related issues with a concurrent player spike. This led to some mission payouts failing, some players being kicked to their ships or being logged out. Our team is working around the clock to solve these issues. While we've been able to mitigate some of the causes, we're still struggling to keep up with the scaling that is needed to accommodate all of our hell divers. Therefore, we've had to cap our concurrent players to around 450,000 to further improve server stability. We will continue to work with our partners to get the ceiling raised. If you have progression-related issues, please restart the game in order for things to sync back up. Thank you for your continued patience. Oh, okay. Lounge Lizard. Cheers. Have a good one.
Cheers, Lounge Lizard.
Aushas,
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts on 450,000 being the cap? Were these guys woefully underprepared, or
I think they thought they were gonna do PlayStation numbers on Steam. So what I mean by
damn,
that, I think they were expecting
damn.
like 20,000 people to actually show up for the game like they did on PlayStation. Because I think that 450 most is like 25K is PlayStation 5 and the rest is just PC.
You couldn't wait to pull that one out. You couldn't wait. Go ahead.
Like, realistically, I think that's what they thought. I think they didn't anticipate that a game like Helldivers would do so well on PC, even though it's a Sony branded franchise. And I'm great. Like, and to me, that's fantastic that they did so well, because for the first time now, Sony sees that like there's so much potential outside their box that sits in the living room, that on PC there's a lot of potential. And we'll see maybe more games being sort of pitch or pivoted that side. The only thing though about Helldivers and that number and that success is that makes me a little bit cautious. Shame for all the console warriors is the fact that Sony now is like, shit, we can print money for a fraction of the budget that it cost us to make a God of War, Ragnarok, or a Last. We can print this money by just releasing games or a live service, which is what, mind you, remember that was the original pivot from Jim Ryan that they then said that they're abandoning. If I was freaking Naughty Dog, I'd be freaking shaking in my boots right now. I'm like, shit, my shit needs 300 million with the best artists. This man. And these guys with duct tape and some matchsticks created probably so far the biggest phenomenon for Sony. And I don't know, probably I know Final Fantasy is coming out soon, I think next week. That'll probably somewhat take away from that steam. But in terms of outside Sony, a Sony game being spoken about, you're not gonna get this sort of this entire year to you. You're not gonna get
more than Final Fantasy.
On PC, definitely.
I'm saying total sales. Dude, stop it with the PC, bruv. Stop it with the PC. It's over. It's over. Even the PlayStation guys now use Steam numbers. It's over. Steam is a valid platform now. So, what I'm saying is that when we talk about sales, there's no need to qualify and say, "Oh, on PC." No, this thing will sell more than Final Fantasy.
Now imagine
if Square Enix decided to only sell on PlayStation, that's a Square Enix problem. It's like saying, Steph Curry scores more points because he shoots threes, but I only shoot twos. Bro, that's a you problem. All right, learn how to shoot threes. Okay, but go ahead.
One thing is, but like think about it. Like how many PlayStation 5s out in the wild currently?
The dude,
like I think it's about
50 million. 50 million. They celebrated 50 million.
Dude,
but that's not all active though. There's a lot of PlayStations that are just sitting around. But okay, let's assume everyone is playing these games. Go ahead.
But my thing is like how, and again, I don't think it's a failure on Sony's part now, but I think it's a failure overall in terms of how they've positioned their consoles. That how is it that game should be over 1 million on PlayStation in terms of active users right now, Helldivers. That 25, it's shocking to see that number. So I wonder what the actual retail, I wonder what, when the number comes through, what that's going to look like. Because when I saw the charting of the game as well, it was doing horrible, dude. It was like 6th or 7th. It's not doing like a Final Fantasy numbers in terms of charts and in terms of sales. So Sony needs to look at that, man, in terms of like, how can we get more of our Call of Duty players and our players that play all these other games, these multiple
first person. Can you play this thing first person?
Oh, I suppose that's a huge barrier.
Yeah. First, it's not first person. And also, second is that PlayStation has other first person shooters. Just because you have a first person shooter doesn't mean you can replace Call of Duty. There's something about it. And I'm speaking as someone that's not a big Call of Duty fan. Like, I'll play the campaign, but then I'm gone, right? But we have to give respect where it's earned.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people keep throwing money into Call of Duty. I don't know if it's the reload animation. I don't know if it's the soundtrack. I don't know what it is. Because when I look at Battlefield and I look at Call of Duty next to each other, can you tell the difference, Oceans?
Dude, like I'm not a first-person military guy.
Yes, and that's how you check. That's how you check.
Yeah, like look, as a gamer,
can you tell the
gaming
difference?
for a very long time, I can. Like as someone that's been gaming for a very long time, who's played almost all the earlier Call of Duty games, I'll say up until around Modern Warfare 3 was the last one I really sort of.
I'm asking you from the latest COD and the latest Battlefield. Can you tell?
Yeah, That's I won't lie, like dude, it's very easy to tell because of like how specific the last Battlefield is. Like the 2042 one, it's very
Mhm.
different to how a COD game is structured. So yes, that I can. But if you say, for instance, Battlefield
I can
4
tell.
versus what is the Call of Duty that came out around that time? Modern Warfare 1 or 2. Yeah, and you're in multiplayer, it'll be somewhat tricky for me to tell. But with the
I
most
can
recent
tell.
ones, because of just how the decisions, like in terms of how the game works, you can, if you're a veteran or you understand, or like the two different franchises. But for the layman, no, you
Mm.
won't be able to. You won't be able to tell those apart. Whereas you
Yeah,
can
I
tell between
can't
the
tell.
two,
You can't tell
and
between
that's
what?
because like, you don't play a lot of you don't play a lot of first-person shooters.
No, I don't. Like the last first-person shooter I played was Starfield, and before that, it was Cyberpunk,
Yeah, and those are
and before that,
RPGs.
those are the first-person shooters that I know that I've taken the time to play. I'm not going to spend $70 on Call of Duty. I'm not going to do it.
No, I hear you. I hear where you're coming from.
Uh, Vincent thinks he's a comedian now. Says Helldivers chose the wrong week to launch with Skull and Bones being next to it.
Yeah,
Dude,
man.
I could launch next to Skull and Bones and I'd sell more copies. All right. Uh, COD gets
The
all the
only people that
players for their 20. The only people that couldn't do it,
I said the only people that couldn't was Warner Brothers.
low blow, low blow.
Yeah,
But you know what? Worth it. Fuck Suicide
that's
Squad. COD gets all the players for their $25 skins that are so brightly colored they give away your position to other people. Hey man, they know their crowd. They know their crowd.
yeah.
Um, Oshis, I put this one up on a poll actually on Twitter earlier on, but you think this thing could hit 1 million within the next
Um,
6 months?
if they fix the server,
Assuming, yes, assuming
yeah.
they fix the servers, you think this thing could hit 1 million?
So there's two things that I've just realized about these games, especially these ones that, and I saw this with the finals as well. But you need to keep up the momentum. Yeah? You need to sort of, if they let the momentum die down and something else take away from that steam and the chatter is not there anymore, no, it won't make it to that. Because if franchises like Destiny could not make it to that number, they need to make sure that they do something to get the steam going. If they, pun not intended, if they if they don't, it'll fall. I think it'll probably fall shy of around 500, and then it'll
what
stop there.
could what could take over? Because I'm looking at it, right? I'm looking at the
But like,
schedule.
okay, no, like if I look at like with the PlayStation, because a lot of the attention that Helldivers is getting is also from the PlayStation content guys. Even though even though no one is playing it on
No
PlayStation,
one is buying it on PlayStation.
yeah, no one is buying it or playing it on PlayStation. The problem is next week, as I said, Final Fantasy is coming, and then that's gonna monopolize a lot of the conversation. Even though it's a different genre game, but it's gonna take up a lot of the attention. And then we have to look at, I don't know what's coming out on Steam, and how long it's gonna take them to
Ooh,
fix those servers.
Last
So
Epoch. Last Epoch is coming out on Steam. My friend Flemish says
yeah.
this thing is going to be a monster. It's like a Diablo style game, and it's
Hmm.
like this thing is going to do damage because he's
So,
given it a go on the
mhm.
beta or whatever, and it has potential to do some
Yeah,
damage to those numbers.
but it's like with Palworld. If like look at like Palworld was all Steam, or was just all the talk, everyone was in on it, but then something else came in and then like sort of took over the conversation, and then people are still playing Palworld, but it sort of slowed it down a little bit. So
Yeah,
if they don't fix this issue with the servers and they can't sort of like keep the conversation going, there's a lot of biggish games coming up, both on console, and now you just mentioned to me that on PC as well. If they allow those games to take over the conversation, then yeah, it'll flatline the numbers. The numbers will, like, I think, top out at around 500, and then they'll stop
hmm
dropping after, depending on the support. Because another thing with an experience like Helldivers is that they have to then introduce something very shortly, to sort of keep the people coming back. So there's a lot of factors that are going to have to sort of play in for them to be able to get to that million. I don't think they'll do it. I think they'll top out at about 500,000. I just don't think they were prepared for it. They were not in a
Get-
position like a Microsoft where they had done this
Get-
before and were in PC.
Yet this Power World is still doing 500K right now.
But like the thing is, Microsoft, in terms of like, if I look at like what Microsoft has done, is that they've gone all in on Pal Worlds now, and they're providing the support that Pal Worlds needs. As a result, Pal World is still sort of being consistent as an experience, whereas I don't think Helldivers has that. Which was I think Phil Spencer said this, and he said like in an interview that he doesn't understand why Helldivers was not
Is
marketed
only
Xbox.
on PlayStation.
I promise you now, if Helldivers was on Xbox, it would be doing about, if you're looking at like the PC being about 425, then they would be doing another good 200 or something so K.
Cut the cap.
Easily,
Cut the
dude.
cap.
Easily, because of the fact that
with Game Pass, would it be on Game Pass? Would it be on Game Pass?
even without Game Pass, I think it still would do it.
Oh, cut the
Those
cap,
numbers
man.
are nothing. Those numbers are nothing, dude. On a platform that is built around multiplayer and not single player experiences. Look, Sony's bread and butter, dude. They've made it clear that they make movie games. They make third-person movie games, and that's what they've sold their people on forever. And they're gonna have to sort of say to the guys, listen, we're also a platform for multiplayer experiences that are not first-person shooter Call of Duty type games.
And people look at them with blank stares, like, what?
Like, look at just how poorly like a Baldur's Gate 3 did on PlayStation. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, where I'm going with this, like, they're very specific.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate didn't do very well on PlayStation.
That game should have blown up more on PlayStation than it did on PC, just because of just how good the quality of the game is. If PlayStation was a platform,
yeah, but it's not cinematic third person. You don't have like a bow and arrow.
It's not exactly,
You know?
and you're not babysitting.
You're not escorting anyone anywhere. How
Exactly.
like I
and no one
I
has
don't think
issues.
it's gonna
No
work.
one has issues that they're unresolved or
Oh my
or
god.
any of that sweet baby stuff.
Okay, but the point is, as far as online games are concerned, PlayStation does do online very extremely well, like we discussed earlier on, right?
Yeah.
It's just for some reason when it's first party, people don't come out to play. I don't know what that's about.
I also don't
I
understand
don't know.
that. Like,
I don't get it. Hunter 6969. Please help us out. I don't know who you said is tripping, but please help us out on why. Why is it that Madden, Call of Duty, FIFA, all these Fortnite, all these third-party online games get tons of players on PlayStation, but nothing when it's first party. And it's not just Helldivers, they've had online games forever. They've had, I think it was Killzone, they've had like shooters before, but people just didn't stick. They didn't get on. Why? Hunter 6969. I'm curious. The dude, no escort missions. How else am I supposed to get frustrated and throw my controller?
Yeah.
All right. Well, while we wait for Hunter 6969's response here to a little query, Oshus,
What's up?
it's about that time. Let's get ready to hop off. It's been almost 2 hours.
Dude, it doesn't
Can you
feel
please tell? I know. When you're having fun, that's what happens. I wish I could do this every day.
Yeah.
No problem. I'm very jealous of him, honestly, because he gets to just wake up and he's either here or is somewhere else talking about video games.
Yeah.
It's living the dream, really, if we're being honest. Oshus, where can people find you? What are you up to?
So in terms of finding me, I've mentioned this previously. So I'm part of, in South Africa, I'm part of the biggest Xbox group. So if you're in, and it's on Facebook primarily, but we are also on Twitter and on TikTok. It's Xbox Players South Africa or Xbox Players SA. That's where I do most of my contribution and I do most of the discussions. We'll probably have something soon up on YouTube as well. And I'm also just on the Twitter at Oshas07. Not a huge presence there, but I love the engagement on Twitter. So yeah, all my handles across all platforms are Oshas or Oshas07.
All right. Thank you so much, the dudes. Good takes. Great
Thanks,
damn
man.
show. Merci, Stanley Francois. As for TSWS Gaming, you can find us every single Tuesday on the Lowdown, same time as now. Wednesdays, we don't have a show, but Ham Solo usually hops on to Matt Likes Games channel for the two-player podcast. On Thursday, usually we do Ham Solo does Behind Them Sticks, where he interviews certain people in gaming. Last week, he interviewed Oh No, It's Alex on his history in gaming and what he likes and stuff like that. Yeah. Make sure to go and watch it. All right.
Well,
Make sure to go and watch it. And then smash the like button when you're stuck in traffic. All right. Do it. Fridays, it's bullsitting with me, Ham, Cozy, Mad Likes Games, and a special guest every single Friday. Saturday, we're off, but I'm now scheduling the behind the scenes video that I record on OBS to publish on Saturdays. So and then Sundays I either do my live stream by myself, or if someone wants to join me, or I'll edit a video and put something out like like thoughts on whatever subject. This past week I was talking about the Halo TV show, and the week before that I did a quick review of Tekken specifically for the campaign, because I'm a very story-oriented guy. As you can tell, I love me a good story. Mondays, it's the crossover with Ham Solo and K Mega. They alternate between TSWS and K Mega's channel, but that's on pause for like maybe 1 or 2 more weeks, and then it's back on. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being with us. Hunter6969, since you didn't get to put your point out here, please make sure to DM it to me, because I'm very curious to find out. Vince, I will check the DMs. Thank you so much for your links. I will check the DMs and fix my connection issue with the controller. And with that said,